Boom! What's up, y'all? Welcome to the DJ Kenny Parker Show. We do this every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Spook Realm 4Q, once again, you are first in the building. What's good? Gregory Nettis, what up? Gregory Nettis asked, yo, Ken, this is an interesting question right here. Gregory Ed, we jump right into questions. Says, yo, Kenny, who's a female MC you would like to have dinner with? That's interesting. Well, if I got to speak to a female MC, it would probably be live on this show. I would say off the top of my head, I'd like to speak to Queen Latifah, probably. Me and her go way back. And I haven't seen her in a long time. So I would love to catch up with her and kick it with her, of course, here on the DJ Kenny Parker Show. So the answer to that question would be Queen Latifah. Spook Realm says, welcome to the Tuesday community. Yes, we got our community here. We keep it nice and tight here. Caffeine Literary Crochet. Haven't seen that name in a minute. What's good from the Bronx? Ethan Sutton says, what's up, Kenny Parker? Do you recommend an aspiring producer to pursue an analog setup for live mixing or digital controller? What have you been playing with out live? I personally have used just about every medium there is over my career. I've used vinyl with turntables. I've used CDJs. I've used Serato with turntables. I've used Serato with CDJs. I've used numerous controllers, which is what I use mostly now. As you can see, I notice a lot of the producers, even the big name producers, are mostly moving into the controller world. It's the most convenient, especially they have big ones now that's like the size of actual turntables. I see a lot of people using those. I say whatever it takes to rock the party. I mean, it depends on where you're DJing. If you're DJing in a smaller spot with smaller space, I'd get a small controller and use that. If you DJ in a big place or a big club, I would suggest rocking the turntables with probably Serato Scratch Live. Although, so is this still called that, or is it Serato DJ Pro now? I don't remember the name anymore. Serato, or a controller. I use controllers a lot now when I'm out and about, so that I would suggest using a controller. But whatever you use, you know what I noticed too? The audience doesn't really seem to care. People be so busy having their own good time, dancing and singing and doing whatever they do. They don't even really seem to care what you're using. And if you're really rocking the party, most people will be out there going crazy anyway. So yeah. MMA Crossfire, what's up? Supreme Divine, what's good? MMA says Mike Tyson did not look good against Jake Paul. Well, that's relative. Mike Tyson's 58. How old is Jake Paul? Like in his 20s, maybe? Relative to that, yeah, Mike Tyson to me looked good in the first couple rounds. Then he looked like he got tired. Plus, he looked like he wasn't really trying to go hard. To me, it just looked like a sparring session between two guys who weren't really trying to hurt each other. Because I've seen a couple of times where I think Mike threw a jab and he looked like he had a little opening and he just chilled. And I looked to me like Jake Paul wasn't trying to go in too hard either. Just seemed like they were just sparring. I never felt like anybody was ever in trouble or even meant to be in trouble. That's what I gathered from it. It's good to see Iron Mike out there, Brooklyn in the house. Yeah, but I watched that whole fight. Also, last week was fun with Bumpy Knuckles. Yes, everybody who didn't catch the Bumpy Knuckles interview that I did last week with the crazy echo on my voice, Pardon me for the technical difficulties. We couldn't get it fixed, but we went live anyway. Shout out to my dog, Bumpy Knuckles. He was very candid and we had a great interview. If you guys didn't see it, it's on the channel. It was last week. Let's see. Pop-Up Sincere says, peace, KP. Cap off the Tyson weekend with BDP, Ireland, and Mike stories if you have some. I don't really have a lot of Iron Mike stories. I've never met Mike Tyson. There's a classic picture going around of KRS-One, of Mike Tyson and Scott LaRock with KRS-One in the background. So they obviously had met and were cool with each other back in the 80s. This had to be when Scott LaRock passed in 87. So this picture had to have been taken in 87. That's peak Mike Tyson too. I saw Mike Tyson the day after he punched Mitch Green in the eye. Do y'all remember that big incident he had in Harlem? We had a fight with Mitch Green in front of Dapper Dan. And in New York, it was on the cover of the newspaper. I remember they had they showed Mitch Green's eye was all out. And the next day, I was hanging out in a club. I do believe it was Studio 54. They had reopened it and it was trying to like rebrand it in like the late 80s. It's the new Studio 54. Of course, I went to check it out. And Mike Tyson came through there. I remember he came up in the DJ booth and he had a whole cast on his arm. And he came up and he raised the cast in the air and everybody went crazy. The whole club exploded for Mike Tyson. And this is like the day after he hit Mitch Green. I saw him then, and I saw him in the tunnel, the club, the tunnel. Looked like he just came in and just did like a walkthrough, and he just looked very intimidating. I don't know if it's because you knew who he was and knew what he was about. It was that mixed with his just normal look, the way he was looking, the way he was walking through the crowd with his boys. He just looked like a pit bull that wasn't on a leash. You ever see a pit bull that's not on a leash and somebody's like, yo, watch that dog. Like, whose dog is that? Like, yo, that's how you felt with Mike Tyson walking through the club. Like, yo, somebody get him. Those are the only two times I recall ever seeing Mike Tyson, but I don't have any stories with him because I've never actually met him. But he is an absolute legend and icon. He's an icon in boxing, and his story is crazy. And he grew up in Brownsville, so you already know. Let me scroll down. Ilroy, what's up? Imperial J the MC, what's up? Ads the Barbarian, what's up? Morgan says, what's good, chat? Tuscan in the house. Tuscan, is it Tuscan, Arizona? Sheesh. Yeah, I see MMA Crossfire said, by the time I get to Tuscan, Arizona. Damn. Dan Marisuti, Canada in the building. Latrice Washington. Let me see if I can pronounce this. Buenas noches, Kenny. Did I say that right? I know my Spanish is horrible. What's good? JT in the building, of course. I see a lot of the regulars. In plain sight, GF Worrell, Rod Justice, Sweet Goldilocks, what's good? Rhythm Blues Preservation Society, what's up? J. Rue 72, what's up? And let me give a rest in peace. I think I saw that today. The Bay Area legend, I believe is pronounced Saphir. He was down with Exhibit and Razkaz and those guys. A Bay Area legend. He was down with Pac, Digital Underground, passed away. I believe today they announced it. It's like every week, y'all. Like I say this every week, we're saying rest in peace to one of our family, our hip hop family. So shout out to him and his family. Terrell McMillan, what's up? Def Rocker says, did you see the video of Bambaataa at Crotona Park? No, I did not. Is that recent, like this year? Nah, I didn't see that. J-Woo72 says, yo, Kenny, who did the cuts and scratches on Jack of Spades? I was banging that song at work today, certified classic. Absolutely. And to my recollection, KRS-One did the scratches on that song. KRS-One did the scratches on most of the BDP KRS-One songs. Not Criminal Minded, that was Scott. But Chris did most of the scratches on By All Means Necessary, Ghetto Music, Edutainment, Sex and Violence, some of it. I did some of it. And then Return to Boom Bap Premier did the majority of the scratches. You know, Chris got scratches on there too. Even that's Chris going, so you're a philosopher? Yes. He did most of his own scratches. So I believe that Chris did the scratches on that song, and I believe D Nice co-produced the track, or produced or co-produced. I don't know the story exactly. We need to get D Nice on this channel so we can clear up a lot of stuff. But as we know, he is the busiest man in show business. Henry Cedillo was good. Jamel was good. Flowetry, what's good? Firebird Phoenix, haven't seen that name in a minute. Kenny Parker, what up? The sound was crazy, but the bumpy show was fire. Thank you so much. Some people were saying that the delay was coming from his end, but I'm not really sure. I've never had that problem before, but we were trying to fix it right before we went on, but we just decided to push through. I'm glad we did because we had a good conversation. DJ Platform 204 says, enough respect, KP, another Tuesday session. Yes. What was watching some old George the Animal Steel matches this week because he's your favorite wrestler. Yes, he is by far. New Ice Cube album called Man Down drops Friday. Gonna check it? Yes, I will. Ice Cube is one of my favorite MCs ever. Shout out to George the Animal Steel. Yeah, I used to love him as a kid, man. Let's see. Let me scroll down a little bit. Derek Mallory, what's up? Danielle Dadon Freeman. Yo, KP, have you ever considered producing a KRS and Mad Lion album? I have never considered it, but I would love to. I got to produce one song for Mad Lion on his first album called Double Trouble. Not the remix. There's a video version of Double Trouble. They made that, I believe, the second single off the album, and KRS-One remixed it and rapped on it. But the original version, the album version, I produced. So I got one song with Lion. VHS Hip Hop, I love that name. Let's go. We live. Let's go. I'm a little behind. Let me scroll. Damar Judy said the fight was scripted. You know, for some reason, I feel that. For some reason, I feel not so much it was scripted, but that they were told. I'll tell you something. I was watching an interview, a quick snippet with Roy Jones Jr. And he was talking about when him and Tyson had their little exhibition match. And he was talking about how strong Mike Tyson was even back then. But he made an interesting point. He said, when the fight first started, He said we were told, now nobody get out there and get hurt now. Y'all don't hurt each other. He said that's what they were told before the fight even started. Y'all don't hurt each other. He said, but he was still concerned because, Mike Tyson only has one mode, a go mode. So he said even Mike, he only knows one thing. So he was saying that he was trying not to get hurt by Mike, but he said Mike was real strong. So I saw that and I was thinking to myself, well, before that fight, they told him don't hurt each other. So that fight was really not, that was just a sparring match. So that wasn't really serious. And I do believe, I have no evidence, but I do believe that the Mike Tyson fight with Jake Paul was probably the same thing. And I saw somebody show a slowed down footage of, do you remember in the first round, I think it was, when Jake Paul grabbed Mike Tyson, was just holding him and wouldn't let him go? When Mike threw like a couple flurries and Jake held him. I believe Jake was talking to Mike in his ear. That's what they were showing on YouTube, that Jake was talking to Mike in his ear and was probably telling him, yo, chill. I do believe Jake Paul got $40 million for the fight. Mike Tyson got $20 million. Chill. JWoo72 says, enough respect to Bumpy Knuckles. Yes. FU2 says Tyson is almost 60. Tyson never had a chance. I mean, Mike Tyson, a person of his power always has a puncher's chance. I mean, you might catch you one time. That could be the end. But like I said, it never really looked like, even the later rounds, it looked like Mike was just, he'll do a little something. He just stood like this and just tried to act like he was. You remember how Mike Tyson, how quick he was to finish somebody when they were hurt? Like, as soon as Mike saw you were hurt, he was one of the best ever at finishing people. He just never seemed like he was trying to finish Jake Paul. And Jake Paul never seemed like he was trying to hurt Mike. It was just get the money, man. That's my opinion. And I have no facts. Corey Flood, what's good? Says, yo, Bumpy Knuckles interview is a top 10 Kenny interview. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, man. I just try to talk to my, people that I admire and try to, get a good conversation going, man. FU2 says Tyson and Roy Jones was a terrible fight. I don't remember seeing all of that fight, but like I said, Roy Jones admitted that before the fight, they was told don't hurt each other. So once you say that, yeah, it probably was a terrible fight. I don't know. Some of these, I don't know how much I trust boxing anyway, but I might be a conspiracy theorist. Latrice Washington, did Redman shout out BDP on Pick It Up? I don't remember that. Shout out to Reggie Noble. That's the homie in the family. Shout out to Reggie Noble. Shout out to the DJ Twins. Shout out to Rock Wilder, Eric Sermon, the whole Def Squad, Keith Murray, everybody. No, I do not remember. I listened to that song, Pick It Up. I listened to Muddy Waters' album probably 100 times. I don't remember that shout out in that song. I could be wrong. It's a name I don't recognize. Marvin Keller. Are you new to the show? Finding Your Roots, the show. Are you new? What's good? Welcome. This is the DJ Kenny Parker Show. We do this every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Trying to line up some more guests, y'all. When I get them solidified, I will let you guys know. Maybe next week. Jeff Worrell says KP is pronounced Tucson. What I said, Tucson? What I said, thought I said Tucson. Tucson, Arizona. I said Tucson, Arizona. Tucson. Thank you. I've never been there. I don't even believe I've ever been to Arizona before. In my time with BDP, DJing for BDP, I don't think we've ever did a show in Arizona in all those years. Derek Mallory says RIP Saphir. Yeah, man. Each week it seems like it's an interesting question. Yo, Kenny, wasn't there a planned biopic? Is it biopic or biopic? I think it's biopic for KRS on HBO. If yes, how close did it get to being made? Also, who was going to play you? Well, first of all, they've been talking about doing a KRS-One story since 91. And it's always got right there and fell back. In 2008, the director of Silence of the Lambs, the Academy Award-winning director of Silence of the Lambs, Jonathan Demme, agreed to direct it. He was going to direct the movie, and he put his name. He said, if we get the funding and get the movie moving along, he was definitely into direct, which would have been crazy. But he passed, unfortunately. There's a long story about that whole KRS-One movie and I'm going to plug my book in this, because as they were presenting the movie, they were saying, yeah, we're going to talk about the movie's going to start, with KRS-One is homeless and he meets Scott LaRock. And then they start, and I'm like, yo, there's so much more to the story. Like, you ever wonder why KRS-One was homeless? And I remember talking to a well-known person that you guys would know his name. And he was saying that he was going to write the screenplay and he was going to start there. And I was like, yo, there's more to the story. And they were just like, yeah, Kenny, relax. You'll get a little part. You'll be the little brother. That's how they were talking to me. So I was just like, you know what? I'm going to tell the real story. Because, when I was first writing this book, and I was talking to Chris about writing the book, and I told him I wanted to tell the real story, the whole story. And I told him, I said to him, you have a whole 30-year career, and I don't want to say anything to embarrass you or mess up your image, but I want to tell things how it really happened. And he was like, go ahead. I don't care. Tell everything. Like that. So I was like, a word? And he said to me, Kenny, people think Criminal Minded is the beginning of my story. But for us, that's the end of a story. And I always remember him saying that to me. And I was like, you know what, Chris, you're right. And I'm going to tell a story. And I told it in this book. And this is the story that they were not going to tell in the HBO series. They were going to start KRS-One at like age 19. I'm like, yo, you don't even understand the amount of things that happened by the time we were 19 years old. You got to understand that Scott LaRock met KRS-One. He was already KRS-One. You know the journey that went into that? And I was right there watching the whole thing. But they just brushed me off. So I hope if they make any HBO or any kind of stories now, they include what I wrote about, because that's the real story. And to answer your question, I don't know how close it got. There was a bunch of discussions. They've been talking about this for literally 30 years. Man, I don't even know. I've seen Chris talk to Spike Lee about it. I've seen all kind of things, but at this moment, I haven't heard anything about anything getting made. So, Maybe they will make it. Maybe they're in discussions without me, and no one has to talk to me yet about my book, but that's the real story. Thanks for that question. Engage VR YouTube channel says, Kenny, thank you for bringing Bumpy on. Really enjoyed that. Yes, Bumpy has so much hip hop history, and I just stuck to the hip hop, and I left out a lot of the street stuff, as I should. Def Rocker says, yes, Bambaataa is a recent video a few days ago. Wow. Okay, so Bam is back outside. I did not know this. That's interesting. JT says, you're so right, Kenny. It's starting to feel like a weekly roll call for our fallen family. Yeah, we need to celebrate them before their final journey. I agree, man. I really hate like when a person passes and then everybody starts playing their music and like their streams on Spotify go up 500% and all that. Like we should been listening to these people, and we should have been bigging these people up. I know sometimes you forget about people, or out of sight, out of mind, or whatever, but we have so many of our legends, so many of our heroes passing, and so many of them that's still walking around, especially in a place like New York. You could be in places and see founding fathers or people that created the soundtrack to our childhood just walking around in New York, unnoticed, not respected. I try to show love to as many people as I can, and when I see people, even if I don't know them, if I have respect for them, I'll walk up to them and introduce myself and tell them how much I like and enjoy their work. For the most part, I would say 90% of the time that has gone well. There's a few times where it didn't go well. Check out my JC story on this channel. But other than that, most of the time it's gone well. But yeah, we need to start showing love to our people, man. CNC's Technique in class. Thank you so much for your contribution to the channel. I'm not silly, Postopedic, the boom bap. I need it. Salute to DJ Kenny Parker. Any chance you may be able to bring on channel live? Also, do you have any Dave RIP from the De La Soul stories? I really need to bring, shout out Hakeem Green, who I talk to periodically. That's family. I need to bring Hakeem. This is something, speaking of taking people for granted, me and Hakeem, we're so cool. I've never even asked him to come on the show. And I've done his show before. He has a sports show. Him and KG of Naughty by Nature, another super dope, underappreciated producer, in my opinion. I need to ask Hakeem to come on and we can talk. Do I have any Dave from De La stories? Yeah. Actually, I'll tell you a good one. The last time I saw him, I can't remember. It had to be it was at a De La Soul concert. This had to be, and it's funny, I was with Hakeem from Channel Live. I do believe it was Ice Cube and De La Soul was performing somewhere. Might have been in New Jersey. I cannot remember. Ice Cube was on a bill, De La Soul, and some other people. And me and Hakeem Green went to that show. And I saw De La, all of them. That's family. Shout out to Pa, shout out to Maceo, shout out to Prince Paul. And they was laughing, saying how much I look like my brother. And I was telling Dave, I was like, I don't really think I look that much like him as much as people think. And here's why. And I was trying to explain to him my logic. I told him, hear me out. This is the conversation I was having with Dave of De La Soul. I said, I don't know if any of you people have ever been around KRS-One and gone to places, just random places, like I have over the years. Like when you go into like a mall with KRS-One, in about 15, 20 minutes, it's a mob where like security has to come and you basically have to leave. Just about any place you go, especially in the past, especially in the 90s, 2000s, even now, but I'm talking in the 90s, 2000s, anywhere you go with KRS, it becomes a mob scene instantly. But when I go places, there's no mob scene. And my argument was, if I look that much like KRS-One, like people say, when I come into a place, people should be like, at least like running up on me, be like, oh, no, you're not KRS-One. I've never been mistaken for KRS-One. People always say to me, you look like KRS-One, or you must be Kenny Parker. That's always been my reality. I never went anywhere and got mistaken as KRS-One and got mobbed. Never. And so my argument to Dave was, if I looked so much like KRS-One, how come when I go to the mall, nobody cares? And when he goes to the mall, they have to call security. And I said, this was my argument. And Dave was just looking at me like this. And I was like, so you're not buying my argument? He was just shaking his head. He was just going, nah, man, nah. And everybody started laughing. And he was just going, nah. And I kept saying, yo, explain to me why I don't get mobbed in the mall. And he was just going, nah, man, nah, like that. We had a good laugh. That's the last time that I saw Dave in person. This had to be about 10 years ago at least. Yeah, so that's like a good Dave story that I remember last time I saw him. Rest in peace to him. And De La Soul, as you guys know, Native Tongue is my favorite rap collective of all time. So I listened to 3 Feet High and Rising probably 500 times. I probably listened to that song. I probably listened to that album 100 times in '89. And I remember getting, I was chilling with the late, great Chris Lighty. Rest in peace to Chris Lighty, original Violator with Red Alert. Then he became the manager of the Jungle Brothers and part of the Jungle Brothers. Then he became a hip hop mogul with Def Jam and Violator. Y'all know the story. I was hanging with Chris Lighty in '91. And he had an advanced copy. I wish I still had it. It was blue. He had an advanced copy of De La Soul is Dead. It wasn't even out yet. And he popped it in the car. And we was riding around Jersey. And I went absolutely crazy listening to De La Soul is Dead. I was like, this is the most incredible thing I've heard in a long time. And I just lost my mind. And the next, like 2 days later, I caught up with Chris Lighty again. And I was like, yo, you got that De La Soul is Dead tape? And he saw how excited I was. He was like, here, man, take the tape. And he just gave me De La Soul is Dead promo tape. It was blue. It had writing on it. It was a blue tape. And I just dissected every inch of that tape. So, shout out to Chris Lighty and shout out to De La Soul and rest in peace to Dave. That was a long-winded answer to your question, but that was a great question. Thanks. Moving right along. I'm way behind now. I'm going to scroll back. Do a Benny Doyle, scroll down. There go Benny Doyle. He's already behind. He's scrolling already. Yes, Benny Doyle, I'm behind. Because the comments keep coming. I get stuck on one comment and I'll be like 10, 15 minutes behind. J Woo 72 says, tell KRS-One to hit the like button. Everybody, please, if you're out there, please hit the like button because I think it helps the algorithm so that like-minded people could check out the channel and check out the show and join the Tuesday community. We do this every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Jay Doyle says, peace to everyone tuning in. Yes, peace to everyone tuning in, all the regulars and the new people. He says, Kenny, a true legend. Thank you. I appreciate that. Let's see. Blaze the Creator, what's up? He said, it was just epic to see Iron Mike in the ring again. Yes, that's how I looked at it. I was just happy to see Mike in the ring. They say he lost the decision or whatever. He lost or whatever. I was just happy to see Mike, and I'm happy to see Mike healthy and prosperous, because he is very blessed to be here. Based on his life and the amount of wear and tear he put on his body, he is blessed to be here, man. That is a person I would love to talk to. I would absolutely love to talk to Mike Tyson. Base Creator said the girl fight Cole Main was the best fight. I saw some of that too. They were going super hard. I did see some of that. That was crazy. Jay Doyle says, as soon as I seen Tyson come out with the knee brace, I knew it was over. Yeah, I mean, you can't beat Father Time. Father Time is undefeated. And we've seen all of our greats go past their prime, trying to get, just a little bit more in. And even though you could see glimpses of what they were, you just cannot beat it. Even the greatest, even Muhammad Ali, Tyson, Jordan, everybody, it reaches a point where you just can't go anymore. But somehow Mike managed to get 20 million. I hope that's a nice payday for him. MK Ultra says, what's the word on upcoming guest, KP? The word is, I don't really like to announce it till I get it more solidified. I mean, I've probably had a dozen people say they agree to do the show, but we haven't got a chance to lock it down. So I got to get back on them, and but some really interesting people have agreed to come on and just kick it. So once, when I get things solidified, then I kind of try to let you guys know what's coming. So I don't like to say things before they get solidified. Def Rocco, you at the Buckshot birthday party at SOB's last night? No, I was not. I was busy doing some stuff last night, but Buckshot is family. The whole boot camp clique is family. So I was there in spirit always. They really are, like, all of them. Shout out to every last one of the crew, man. Terrence Hill, what up? Joey Joe says, nobody want to see interviews from Keith Murray. I don't know. I mean, he is very candid. I really don't know what to say. He seems in and out of it to me. But I would love to talk to him. He seems to be very open to talk about anything. Corey Flood says, Red Man on Pick It Up says PPP, Pistol Packing Posse, not BDP. Yeah. There you go. D. King, Kenny, why no appearance by ICU on the show? Working on it. I spoke to ICU this summer. Working on it. Some things, just got to get the scheduling right. Benny Doyle says Sadat X in 2 weeks. That would be dope. Shout out to Sadat. Shout out to the whole brand Nubian. H. Bippy, what's up? Um, let's see. I'm gonna scroll down. It always says that KRS movie is a must. It really is, because the story is not like anybody else's story. The KRS-One story, our family story, is not like anybody else's story. It's so wild, man. And the amount of things that had to line up for KRS-One and BDP to form is so mind-boggling to me. It's literally a miracle. Hype Style says, I remember interviews when Ted Demi, Yo MTV Raps, rest in peace to him, was talking about doing the movie, presumably with his father, Jonathan Demi. Now, I do believe Jonathan Demi is his brother. But yes, Jonathan Demi was down to do the movie, which would have put it in a whole different light. Academy Award winning director. It would have been dope, man. I'd like to do the movie myself, tell you the truth. I'm not a director or screenwriter, but if I can get a dope screenwriter and director, but I know how the movie should go. Spook Realm 4Q says, question, were you one of the dying DJs at the start of the Sex of Violence album? Yes, I was. It was me and Chris, I believe. Maybe somebody else was in the room. Yes, I was one of the DJs. It was me and Chris and somebody else, I believe. I forgot all about that little skit. FU2 says, Bam was at a big function in the BX in the summer. Really? How was the reception? Just curious. This is interesting. Benny Dill says Scott LaRock is the Len Bias of DJs. They were both so great and died too soon. Absolutely. That's a great analogy. That's a great analogy. Let's see. I'm way behind, so I'm just going to jump down, y'all. DJ Platform 204 says, hey, KP, you don't look like KRS-One because you got a shaved head. KRS always has his hair, which is distinct to his character. Yeah, he started growing the hair in like 94. So if Chris cuts his hair short like me, then we probably would look. I know we look alike. I mean, we're brothers, but my argument is, if you saw me and Chris together, I don't know if you would say we look exactly alike. Like people be like, we're twins. And I'm like, if we were twins, I would get a lot more reaction when I'm outside. That's just my argument. It could be a bullshit argument, but yeah. Let's see. Jonathan Majors said, Jonathan Majors to play KRS in a movie. That would be dope. They were, you know what's funny? They were doing a Juice Crew movie that never came out a few years back. This probably had to be 15 years ago, I believe. They were doing a Juice Crew movie, and of course, in a Juice Crew movie, they were going to do the whole BDP versus Juice Crew. And guess who was going to play KRS-One? Tony Yayo was signed up to play KRS-One. Like, it was in motion. I don't know what happened, that the movie didn't come out or never got made, or maybe it got made and they didn't have that part. But Tony Yayo was going to play KRS-One, which I always felt was odd. But yes, and I do believe Chris told me he actually spoke to Yayo about Yayo was preparing for the role. Like, he called Chris and they talked about how Yayo should approach playing KRS-One. So I do believe that was, I heard that. But it never materialized. So who knows? Brooklyn Geek says, as always, shout out from Flatbush, KP. Yes, Flatbush in the house. I grew up in Flatbush. I am very familiar with Flatbush. Always Flatbush, man. Flatbush, Brooklyn, for those that don't know. 73 Trinity says, Big Kenny P, Stephen from Sims Deli. Yes, Chris used to live on 34th Street in Lexington. That's prime real estate right now in New York. That's in the dead center heart of Manhattan. Chris used to live there in like 89, 90. And there was a deli right across the street called Sims Deli. And we used to always be in there getting tuna fish sandwiches and stuff. And my man Stephen used to work in there. So shout out to him. I like this comment. Torrance Williams said, my boy said you can really play basketball at St. Peter's College. Thank you very much. Shout out to your boy. Shout out to you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Yes, I used to play ball for St. Peter's University now. Let's see. There's so many comments, y'all. I'm just trying to I'm trying to pick out. CMC says Rock Ness Monster would be a dope interview. Yes, it would. Rock Ness is, I check out his channel. Rock Ness has a channel. Is it Rock Nation? Rock Ness Nation? Monster Nation on YouTube. And shout out to him. Last time I saw him was, I think, the summer before last on Eastern Parkway, Labor Day Parade. I go there every year in Brooklyn, and Rock Ness Monster walked past. We bigged each other up. We kept it moving. There's so many people I'm trying to get on here, y'all, just to talk. You know, I see a lot of interviews of people that I really look up to and admire, and the interviewers don't really ask the questions that I want. It's just my own personal. So when I have people on that I like, I try to talk to them about things that I find interesting. And thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate you guys. And shout out to the people that's going to watch on the rewind. This is like my favorite part of the week, y'all. And we got a streak going. This is show number 67. And like I said, the first 3, I believe, were random. And then I think after the first 3, we decided to do every Tuesday. So I believe at least about 64 of these are in a row. So we got a nice streak going, y'all. We're going to try to keep this streak going for as long as possible. Like I said, I might jump in at some points in the middle of the week. Sometimes I'd be like, yo, I should jump on just for GP. And just say what's up to people, whoever's just not doing anything. If y'all just want to hang out for a little while in the week, I might jump on in the middle of the week. Jamhari, the Trini Jam. I'm sorry if I butchered your name. Said you should get Jamal Ski on here as well. Yes, I should. Shout out to Jamal Ski. I always wanted to produce Jamal Ski. It never really worked out back in the day. When Jamal Ski was in BDP, I was just getting my feet wet, really, in production. By the time I was like starting to make tracks and stuff. He had already went on to his solo career, got his solo deal. So, but that would be dope. Jamal Rankin, if you're around, let's do it. MMA says the KRS story needs to be done properly, though, or not at all. I agree. But I think a lot of people's stories should be done properly, not at all. There's some horrible biopics that I've seen that's horrible. Even as a casual hip hop fan, like some people, I kind of know their story. I don't know the ins and outs, but you know the basic general vibe of their story. And some of these movies are so bad, man. And I know, like, there's a lot of producers and movie execs that put their 2 cents into movies and ruin the direction. And they add stuff just to try to like get more mass appeal, but it ruins the story, man. Some people's stories are just good by themselves. Just tell a story how it happened, man. Don't add any extra drama. Just tell it how it happened. Henry Cedillo said, did anyone ever get arrested for Scott LaRock's murder? I'm not sure, man. I've heard so many stories regarding what happened to the perpetrator. I don't even know, tell you the truth. I don't know. I don't know. Terrible. Gregory Netta says, Kenny looked like Magic Johnson. I've heard that a lot recently, so I guess I look like the recent. I look like the recent Magic Johnson. No one said I looked like Magic Johnson when he was on the Lakers. So I guess I look like Magic Johnson now. Benny Doyle says, Kenny, did you ever play against Mark Jackson before the St. John's days? Absolutely. I played against Mark Jackson in high school. He was a year ahead of me. Shout out to Bishop Loughlin High School where he played. I played at Lincoln High School. They destroyed us. Mark Jackson destroyed us. I remember that game clearly. But I remember seeing Mark Jackson from when he was playing in the tournaments. There used to be a tournament in New York City called Citywide. And it was in all 5 boroughs would have a citywide, and then you would get a champion from each borough. Then they would play for an overall New York City citywide champion. And those back in this is the early 80s, all the legendary ball players, Pearls and Chris Mullins and Kenny Smith and all these guys all were in this tournament. And I saw Mark Jackson for the first time playing citywide. And I just remembered him because he was killing it in citywide. And I remembered him. And then we played him again when he was in high school. When I was in high school, I remembered him from citywide, and he killed us then. And then he went on to St. John's. I played with Mark Jackson on a team, a basketball team, when he was in college in 86. So I mean, this might have been right after his sophomore year, going into his junior year. Was it? Yeah, I think he was about to be a junior, and we played up in City College. All of New York City ball players were playing there. I played on his team. So he probably doesn't remember me at all, but I played with and against him a few times. Brooklyn Geek says, hate to admit it, but Majors would make a good KRS. He probably would. He's shorter, but they can work that out with casting and everything. They can work that out. That would be so dope. If they tell the story the way it's supposed to be told, excuse me. If they tell the story the way it's supposed to be told, it would be incredible, y'all. I'm telling you. Tampa Bay Boston Terrier says, checking in late. What I miss? You missed us talking about Mike Tyson. You missed me talking about De La Soul. You missed us saying rest in peace to Sapphire from the Bay Area. Few things, but welcome. Better late than never, and you can catch the rewind. Jamahari says Flatbush, East New York, and Canarsie in the house. BK all day. Yes. I never really chilled in East. I used to live in East. My family used to live in East New York when I was about 8 years old. We was there for a hot second. But then we moved to Flatbush from the Bronx to Brooklyn. Never really chilled in Canarsie too much, but East New York is rough. Flatbush is wild too, but East New York and Brownsville, man, if you weren't from there, you had no business going over there. MK Ultra says, Kenny, I know you were close with Biz. Have you ever worked with Coogee Rap or Kane? No, I have not. Shout out to Big Daddy Kane. He's a cool brother. We talked in some DMs last year, about a year and a half ago. It's always good seeing Kane. I've never met Coogee Rap in my life, but I do have a story. If you guys haven't checked out my Epic Fails Juice Crew, check out my Epic Fails on this channel, Epic Fails Juice Crew. I tell a story about G-Rap. And I keep saying I'm going to do some more Epic Fails. I keep saying that to y'all, and I haven't had time. But this week, I will do a new Epic Fails. It's coming this week. Yeah. Thomas Breeze, I don't recognize that name. What's good? Says, were you clubbing in the 88? Is that 80s? And Sensations, were you clubbing at Club 88 and Sensations when you were in college? What? I was in Sensations every week. You kidding me? I talk about this on this channel all the time. I was a party animal from the day my brother dropped South Bronx. I went to Latin Quarters for the first time. The first time I ever went to a club was Latin Quarters. And from that moment on, 86, I was an animal. I was in every party because I love hip hop so much and I love the scene. I was everywhere, y'all. I seen it all. Oh my goodness. James Thomas Jr., thank you so much for your contribution to the channel. Really appreciate it. Says, did you see KRS not shake MC Shan's hand at an event? No, I did not see that. I mean, Shan and Chris have always been cool. I did not see that. What event was this? Maybe they have some new bad blood. I don't know, because Shan been talking a lot of ish in the past few years. So maybe some new bad blood has arisen, but I've always seen Shan has always been cool with me. Every time I've ever seen Chris and Shan, it's been nothing but love. So I did not see that. But that's not to say it didn't happen, just that I didn't see it. Spook Realm says, I always thought that Jamalski was an inclusion of BDP purposely to diss Shan and Snow. No, Jamalski got down with BDP a little bit before Informer came out. That's funny. Let's see. Jack Swagger says, Kenny, did you ever play Chris Mullin? No, I did not. He was a little ahead of me. I never played against Chris Mullin. Seen him play a few times. What an incredible shooter. One of my favorite players of all time. But no, I've never seen Chris Mullin. I never played against Chris Mullin, but I saw an interview with him one time, and they asked him what music does he listen to. And at the time, he said his favorite group was Brand Nubian. I saw Chris Mullin say in an interview that his favorite group was Brand Nubians. So that's dope. Chris Mullen is a hip hop head. Benny Doyle says, Kenny, Mark Jackson knows exactly who you are. I don't know. Maybe he does. Maybe he doesn't. I mean, we've been in the same place and time before BDP. And my brother told me that he met Mark Jackson one time. I think Chris told me this is right after it happened. He said he was driving down the street he was standing on the street and he said a white Mercedes pulled up and out jumped Mark Jackson. And he said they were kicking it for a minute in the street, him and Mark Jackson. My brother did tell me that. So my brother Chris has met Mark Jackson. I have not. Let's see. Oh, shoot. This is funny. Whoever said that the Lou Gehrig echo comment from last week, that was the funniest shit I've ever read. Couldn't stop laughing. Yeah, I did sound like Lou Gehrig when he was doing his speech, when he said he's the luckiest man alive. I did sound like that last week. For those that did not see the Bumpy Knuckles interview last week, we had some kind of feedback problem, and we couldn't get it fixed before 8 o'clock. So we decided to just go live and push through. But yeah, I did sound like Lou Gehrig. That is actually hilarious. Hype Style says, I wish that Buff Love and Prince Marky D from the Fat Boys were still alive. You could talk with all three of them and share Brooklyn stories. Actually, I got a chance a few years ago. Matter of fact, this picture right here is of me and one of my childhood inspirations, Jimmy Spicer, aka Super Rhymes. I got to meet Super Rhymes and I asked him for a selfie and he said, sure. This is a little while before he passed. And I took that picture and it hangs on my wall. I remember exactly where I was when me and my brother were walking down the street in Flatbush and we heard Super Rhymes for the first time and it blew out both of our heads completely off. That party, Cool Rock Ski from the Fat Boys was there. And I walked up to him. I'd never met him. Introduced myself. He knew who I was. And we sat and talked for about an hour. Me and Cool Rock Ski about hip hop and about the Fat Boys. And I reached out to him to be on his channel. I had his number. I don't know if the number is no good, but I never got a response back. So maybe the number that I had that he gave me at that time is no longer good. But I reached out because I would love to get Cool Rock Ski on the show and talk about the Fat Boys, because the stuff that he was telling me in our conversation was mind-blowing. And I was also cool with Prince Marky D. I used to see him in the parties all the time when he was doing his production. So this had to be like 93, 94, when he was working with like Mary J. Blige and stuff. I used to see him a lot in the parties. He's always super nice to me. Shout out to the Fat Boys. Yo, at this party, I'm gonna shout out my man Zulu Jeff for through the party and who got Super Rhymes to take this picture. Shout out to Zulu Jeff. Get well soon. At this party, I got to meet Super Rhymes, meet Cool Rock Ski from the Fat Boys. Curtis Blow was there. The Crash Crew got on stage and did high-powered rap, walking down the street with your box in your hand. Y'all know that. I got to see them perform that at this party. And T-Ski Valley performed Catch the Beat at this party too. I got to see all of that. As a hip-hop head, I lost it in there. I saw T-Ski Catch the Beat. My brother used to rhyme to Catch the Beat when we were a youth, when he was just becoming an MC and trying to feel his way around, used to throw on an instrumental to catch the beat by T-Ski Valley. You know, the B-E-A-A-T-T-T-T-T in your mind and your body. Catch the beat. He used to rock to that instrumental, and I got to see him perform and Crash Crew in one night and talk to Kool Rock-Ski from the Fat Boys and get this picture. That's one of the greatest nights of hip-hop in my life. Long-winded answer to your question. Yeah, I wish they were alive so we could talk to them, but if I ever get a chance to sit down, get Kool Rock-Ski on the show. They have a great story, the Fat Boys. You guys would love it, man. Terrence Williams says, any Jungle Brothers stories? Not really. I mean, we did a bunch of shows with the Jungle Brothers. Actually, we was on tour in Europe with the Jungle Brothers, and they brought out their new group, A Tribe Called Quest, was new. Not their group, but like Tribe Called Quest was like affiliated with them, but they were like the opening act. I think we did a couple shows. We did a show in Paris, France, and we did another show in the UK somewhere. But I remember the Paris show clearly. And Tribe Called Quest had one song, I Left My Wallet in El Segundo, was new. And they performed, then the Jungle Brothers, and then BDP. So we did a bunch of shows with them, but I never chilled with them. I never had a chance to chill with any of them. But shout out to Africa, shout out to Mike G, shout out to DJ Sammy B. No Jungle Brothers stories though. Never got a chance to really kick it with them. Let's see. Yes, R.I.P. to Saphir. We talked about that earlier. Kenny talks about sensations in his book. I'm going to plug the book. The link is in the description below. Yeah, I talk about sensations. I talk about the whole journey, man. If you get a chance, pick up the book. Audio book is coming soon. Vincent Ross says, salute DJ Kenny Parker. Who produced KRS-One's Oh Yeah? KRS-One produced Oh Yeah. And quick shout out to myself. I gave Chris the drums for that record. I remember Chris came to my crib. He used to come by my crib when we used to practice and work on routines and stuff for the shows. And he was like, I got this song. I'm looking for some hard drums. And I had just found this break. And I said, yo, Chris, this record right here. And I played it, just a snip, and it had boom, clack, boom, clack. I was like, yo, this right here. He's like, oh, give me that. Thank you. And he was gone. And he took those drums, you know, and he added the music, added whatever, and it became Oh Yeah. So KRS-One produced that song with a slight assist from DJ Kenny Parker. This is funny, Jack Swagger. Kenny's biggest epic fail is promising epic fails every week and not following through. Yes, I apologize. I've just been kind of busy doing a bunch of stuff, but and trying to decide what epic fails should I talk about, because there's so much stuff. You know, some stuff I can't really say the names. But I've seen some things, but I can't really say who it is. And when I do like the blind items type of stuff, people get mad. I be getting a lot in my comments. If you're not going to say the names, then don't tell the story at all. So I get a lot of that. You know, some things that I've seen are kind of crazy, and I think there's a moral to the story. But, you know, I don't want to be a snitch and tell the names of the people who did it. Shout out to my man Jetta from Jersey City, who's always getting on me about snitching. So I don't want to be a snitch and tell names, but the stories be crazy. So sometimes I want to do epic fails, but I don't want to tell the names. But so I just got to figure out what I'm going to talk about. But my next epic fail is going to be about the club called The Tunnel. I have two crazy tunnel stories as epic fails that I want to tell you guys about. Hilarious. Benny Doyle says, Kenny, if you could have played for any one Biggie's team, would it be Syracuse, Georgetown, or Lou Carnesecca, St. John's? I loved Lou Carnesecca. I loved the relationship that he had with his players. I love John Thompson at Georgetown too. He was a little scary though. But you know how you could tell a great relationship? Watch the coaches like at the end of games, or like watch how the players run off at the end of games when they're subbed out. Watch their relationship with the coach when they walk by. And Lou Carnesecca, all of the players used to be hugging him, and they just had so much love for him. And I would have loved to play for a coach like Lou Carnesecca, but I have the utmost respect for the late John Thompson for his fight against Proposition 48. I believe it's Proposition 48 that didn't allow freshmen to play their freshman. You lost a year of eligibility in college if you didn't get a certain mark on the SAT. If you didn't get a certain grade on the SAT, you were ineligible to play your freshman year, and you lost that year. So only had 3 years of college. And Lou Carnesecca and John Thompson, along with some other black coaches, were willing to boycott and sit out games and cost the NCAA money if they didn't change the rules, because he felt it disproportionately hurt black athletes, which it did. And he helped change that rule. So I have the utmost respect for him. And I have the utmost respect for John Thompson for plucking Allen Iverson out of obscurity. If you guys remember, Allen Iverson was one of the top high school basketball and football players in the country. And because he got in a brawl, I think it was at a bowling alley or something, and he got 6 months in prison or something, that no college in the country would touch Allen Iverson. And John Thompson gave him a chance. I think he was the only person that gave Allen Iverson a chance. Despite his talent, no college would touch him. And John Thompson gave him a chance, and we all got to witness the brilliance of Allen Iverson because of John Thompson. So I have the utmost respect for him, but I would have loved to play for Lou Carnesecca. Let me scroll down. Def Rocker says Super Rhymes, I believe, is the longest rap song. It might be. It's 15 plus minutes. I know Rapper's Delight, the full version, is 15 minutes too. And you know what's crazy about those songs? These dudes rocked for 15 minutes. And at the end of the song, you was like, no, like, don't leave. Like 15 minutes, they captured your attention the whole time. It was incredible. This dude, Super Rhymes, was like 4 different people on that record. He was singing. He was Dracula. He was Howard Cosell. He was Muhammad Ali. He was rapping. He was Aladdin, the genie. Yo, this dude left it all on that record, man. It's one of my favorite records of all time. And it might be the longest. I was so happy to get to meet him. And that was one of the highlights of my life. That was like a bucket list picture right there. MODX Mike says, I will get a hold of Crew Rock Ski and have him get at you, KP. Yo, that would be absolutely incredible. Shout out to Crew Rock Ski, Brooklyn all day. I would love to have him come on the show and just talk about the Fat Boys and the heist that they took it in the early days, man. Y'all got to remember, there was a moment where right under Run DMC was the Fat Boys. And they were going platinum when dudes didn't even have albums. But they have a great story. They have such a great story. The stories that he was telling me was incredible, man. I was like a kid in a candy store. Death Rocker says, damn, I would have gone crazy to see that show. Yeah, the show that I'm talking about at this party right here was nuts, man. I don't think Curtis Blow performed, but he was walking around. I remember that. And there were other people there, but I just remember seeing, like, I wouldn't even have recognized Crash Crew until the dude jumped on stage and started doing that walking down the street. Which I lost it. I absolutely lost it. Oh man. Um, let's see. For those that just clicked on, this is the DJ Kenny Parker Show. This is the Tuesday community. We do this every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And shout out to Bumpy Knuckles for being on the show last week. Engage VR says, Kenny, you were right about that De La album. That was really good. Yeah, De La Soul is Dead was incredible. And I got to hear it before it came out. Anthony August says, what about Third Base? Were you cool with MC Search? It's in the book. But the answer is yes. Let's see. People talking about Netflix was buffering. Yeah, it had some buffering issues. I think Netflix is trying to like jump into the live sporting arena. I guess they're trying to like, go into that market. And that was a great way to introduce themselves, but the technology wasn't right. MMA says the John Thompson, Allen Iverson thing was very cool. Yes, it was. It's amazing that he gave him a chance. Let's see. John McKay says, yo, Kenny, what's your favorite drum break that is not obvious? That's a tough one because most of the drums that I make my own drums. So I pick my own drum sounds and program them. So I didn't really use breaks that much. And my favorites are obvious, like Substitution and Sing a Simple Song, Sly and the Family Stone. I love that. But those are obvious ones. How about the Whatnots? The Whatnots. The one that Tribe used for Oh My God. Oh My God. I like that drum. But I think that's not is that not obvious, but I like that one. I'm gonna go with that one as like a one that I like the sound of those, and it wasn't that obvious. We're at 1 hour and 18 minutes, y'all. Thank you for those that's been hanging out the whole time. A Steele says, Kenny, when are we going to get an intro song? You know what? I'll be feeling like sometimes big intros be like taking up time. I like to jump right in. So, I could do an intro song and do a whole video. Maybe I will one day, but I like to jump right in, man. I'm going to go a little while longer, but thank you guys. People that's checking in, thank you so much. Benny Doyle says, MC Search said he was at the hospital when Scott LaRock died. Is that true? I'm not sure. By the time I found out about Scott, he had just passed. So I don't know. I was not at the hospital. Oh shoot, I'm kind of at the bottom. I scrolled, I scrolled all the way down to the bottom. Mike Rock 25 says, yeah, just jump right into it. Some of these intros be extremely long. Yeah, I agree. Like some people just sometimes I think people just be having intros just to like um for their own ego, like, or to make themselves seem bigger or whatever, like have some big din, 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 din. You know, to me, I just we here, let's go. um Benny Doyle says he scrolled too far this time. Yes, I did. I'm never usually at the bottom. Um, Dre Stack Dollar says you need moderators, big homie. Maybe do I? There's some bad comments on here. I mean, sometimes I see people say some things, I just scroll past it, but is it bad? Y'all let me know. Benny Doyle says, any Conrad McRae stories? No. He's a little Conrad McRae is like after my time. So no, I didn't I never met Conrad McRae or played against him. Another sad story, man. Let's see. Some people say they want an intro. Some people say they prefer an intro in the background. I don't know. Lethal Flow, what's good? Says Serge has a reputation of being a compulsive liar these days. That's what Pete Nice said. Wow. Pete Nice said that. And by the way, shout out to Pete Nice. We were at a book event about a year ago. And me and Pete Nice had like a nice half-hour conversation. It's the first time I ever really met him. And we sat and kicked it for about a half an hour. But shout out to him. But he said that'd be crazy if Pete Nice said Search be lying. That's crazy. Wow. Benny Doyle says, what happened to you last Thursday? You were going to do a special episode. I was. It wasn't last Thursday. It was the Thursday before because I had cut the live short because of the election. I cut it short that Tuesday, so I was going to jump on Thursday, and I don't remember what happened. I don't remember what happened because I was going to come on my iPad. I was somewhere, and I was going to bring my iPad and do it live from there, but somehow I didn't do it. But I might jump on. I mean, if it's cool, if y'all guys, there's plenty of times I could jump on and just things that be on my mind. If you guys are down for it, I would definitely jump on. Jack Swagger said the comments are decent here. No mods necessary. Yeah, we got like a nice little tight community. We don't have too many weirdos on here. If you guys notice, whenever I do beef videos, I get an overwhelming amount of views, and a bunch of weird people come on saying stupidness. And trolls are part of the territory if you're going to put yourself out there like that on YouTube or any platform. And I realize this, and it's difficult because if you have an opinion, you have a comment, that's cool. But some people come on just to attack you or say something that has nothing to do with what we're talking about, or speak like they know what they're talking about and have no idea what they're talking about. And I find that annoying, but it all comes with the territory. So, but I think over the year and a half that we've been doing this, year and some change, not year and a half, year and some change, that it's been pretty cool as far as I can see. But if it gets to be too much, like, you guys let me know. Maybe we will need a moderator. A still says you need an intro music. Don't have too long. Simple Kenny Parker beat. I mean, yeah, I could throw on some music. Corey Flood says Pete Nice been calling such a liar. They have a back and forth on YouTube. Word. Wow. Wow. Vincent Ross says Third Base has reunited. I saw that. That's why I was kind of surprised when he said he calling them a liar, because I saw that they had reunited. We only did one show in my time. We only did one show with Third Base. It was like a college somewhere, like upstate New York. Kennard Roberts said Build and Destroy beat was kicking. Was that you, Kenny? Yes, it was. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Build and Destroy is on the Sex and Violence album. And I have a whole breakdown of the Sex and Violence album, my recollection of the making of that album, on this channel. So if you guys have not seen that, go back. It's about a year and a half ago. A year ago, I did a breakdown on the Sex and Violence album. So go check that out. I talk about that song. Jay Joel says the dope content doesn't need no intro. So we got half people saying intro, half people saying no intro. A Steel says those dudes hate each other. Third Base, they hate. It's a shame, because there's probably, money out there for them to go out and do shows. It's a shame, man. But it's hard to be in a group, man. It's really hard to be in a group. Just about every single group in the history of hip hop has broken up at one time or another. It's very difficult, man. All of those egos, and then different people, different factions, different people in crews would have different factions pulling them in different directions. Let's see. I'm going to scroll down. There's more comments. I'm going to scroll down a little bit, and MODX Mike said the funniest beef video, in my opinion, was the one about PM Dawn. For those of you that didn't check out my PM Dawn video, it's one of the first ones that I did. It might have been like the second or third one that I did on this channel. And the reason I did that video, and one of the reasons why I started this channel, was because there's so much misinformation out there about that story and BDP in general, that I said to myself, I'm going to come on and tell a story from my perspective, considering that I was there from the beginning of before the planning of the PM Dawn incident, the whole incident I DJ'd, and the aftermath. So outside of KRS-One, I'm the only other person who could probably tell a story in depth. So I did that, and then I decided to just keep on going with the channel. Rest in peace to Prince B. Though I figure everybody who's watching this now probably already saw the PM Dawn. That might be the biggest video on this channel, either that or KRS-One versus BIG. One of those two. All of my beef videos at the top. And I haven't even done a bunch of them, because I don't even know if I even want to talk about them, because it just brings up old nasty wounds. And we had so many beefs, y'all. I'm going to do a couple of them I'm going to do are going to surprise y'all that y'all don't even know about. Some I can't even talk about. But like I said, there's a couple beefs that I would tell you what happened. I just can't tell you who it was. So if y'all want to hear about it, you let me know. I'll tell you the story, but I can't tell you who the beef was. But there's a lot of people on here that don't appreciate that. So that's why I'll be like, let me just not do it. Andy Johnson says, "Oh, a year went by already. We should have had a special party live for that 1 year anniversary. We should have. That would have been dope. I didn't even think about it. I didn't even realize that a whole year went past until I just was looking at. I tried to keep a count of each episode, and I'm like, we in the 50s, and I know like the first two was sporadic, but then we did a bunch of them in a row, so we probably did like a year straight. Now we're at 67. All right, we had an hour and a half, y'all. I'm gonna check out a couple more of these, and then I'm gonna jump off. Some people said Orange Juice Jones slapped Search. Wow. Remember how hot that Orange Juice Jones song was for me? Was that like the summer? That Rain record was fire for like a summer. Demar Sudi said Pete Nice should not have dissed Hammer's mom in the gas face. Yeah, I saw in documentaries that Hammer was not happy with third base, and they had a lot of beef with Hammer. Third base had a lot of beef with Hammer over dissing him. I have never met MC Hammer, me personally. It's one person I can say I've never met. Gregory Nettis says everyone is broke up except Wu-Tang Clan. But Wu-Tang Clan has all done solo projects. I've seen Raekwon and Meth be mad at RZA, stuff like that. So I don't know if I consider Wu-Tang all staying together the whole time. I mean, the only group I could think of that never broke up was two. It was De La Soul, and then De La Soul never even did solo projects. Like Paz never went off and did an album or something. Like he might have did a guest appearance here and there, but De La Soul was always seemed to be solid. All three of them, for what I can tell. And Houdini, I don't believe they ever broke up. I don't think, have I ever seen them without Grandmaster D? Not really sure, but those are probably the only two groups I could think of that never really broke up. I never, one of the members went and did a solo project. Jack Swagger says, R.I.P. Clark Kent. Yes. R.I.P. to the legendary producer and DJ Clark Kent. I've known him over 30 years, man. It's crazy. All right, y'all. We're at 1 hour and 33. I'm going to jump off soon. I just checking out comments, and when I get off, I'm going to read the rest of these comments. This is the DJ Kenny Parker Show. We do this every Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Shout out to the Tuesday community. We have no real format. We just be talking about whatever and just having a good time. And when I have some guests lined up, I will let you guys know. Other than that, Jay Doyle says, do it for the 100th episode. We should do a 100th episode, but do what, though? That's a dope idea, Jay Doyle. Benny Doyle says, Kenny, run a quick Thursday one time. Okay, I'm gonna try to do it this Thursday. Let's see what's up. What's this? Das Effects is not broken up, though. You know what? I might have to put the Diggity Das in that category. That's a good call there, Terrence Hill. I might have to put that in the category. I don't believe Das Effects has ever broke up. Neither one of them did solo projects. Every time we've ever seen them, they were together. I'm going to put Diggity Das in that category. That's a good one, Terrence Hill. Gregory Nettis said Houdini never broke up. I mentioned Houdini. Naughty by Nature broke up for sure. Divine Existence says in later years, Grandmaster D stopped DJing for Houdini. Did he really? Oh, say it ain't so. Well, yeah, I mean, then I got to take Houdini off the list. Oh, man. Yeah. All right, we're going to drop off now. Thank you guys for checking out the show. Let's catch up next week. I'm going to try to do a Thursday or a Saturday, something like that. I'm going to come on and just see who's out there. It's going to be a random time. It's going to jump on and see who's in the building. Beasties never broke up. I disagree because DJ Hurricane wasn't with them. Didn't they get a new DJ? They did have a new DJ. What was his name? Mike? Beastie Boys didn't have DJ Hurricane. Kid and Play never broke up. But was Wiz with them the whole time? DJ Wiz? I don't know. Kid and Play possibly. That's a possible. Most people saying you should put KRS as the 100th show. That'd be dope. Oh, what's this? Lethal Flow says not true. Das Effect stopped messing with each other for a minute. Is that true? Ah, Lethal Flow, you killing me. Lethal 5 Flow, you killed me. Is that true? Ah, man, say it ain't so. Damn. Rod Justice says Mixmaster Mike. That was his name. Says Hurricane wasn't really a member though. Yeah, he wasn't. I mean, okay. If you want to say Hurricane wasn't really a member, then I guess you could say the Beastie Boys never broke up. If you want to say Hurricane wasn't really a member, if you want to say that, then okay. Souls of Mischief never broke up. Is that true? Not sure about that. Brooklyn Geek says Souls of Mischief did stay together. Is that true? The whole run? All of them? Are you sure about that? Shout out to the Souls of Mischief, by the way. Okay, I'm jumping off right now. We're going to leave it on that note. I will catch you guys next week. Peace and love always. You guys have a great week. And I hope we're going to jump on the next couple of days and see what's up. All right, we're going to get out of here, y'all. Peace and love.